Okay, recording this video on Tuesday, the 10th of March 2020. It's just gone 8:18 p.m. Chicago time. Do hope you are doing well, enjoying your trading. Crazy days, huge range, fast markets. The moves are just unbelievable on the way up and the way down. Actually want to talk about Bitcoin in this video, as you know, to get away from all of the madness happening in the FX markets, the crude markets, the mini market, and talk about what I'm seeing on my charts there. But just as a quick reminder, just, you know, is the bottom in on the equities? Here's typically what I'd look for. Now, remember that bottoms are made quickly on the equities markets. Tops are made slowly. But just as a rule of thumb, once we have broken a support and resistance in one time frame, in this case the lowest time frame, we need to make support or resistance in the next highest time frame. So let me explain that. Here we go. This is E-mini chart at ES, continuous day and night session. Right hand side, we've got all the price indicators based on beta sine waves showing us the cyclical activity. Uptrends painted in red, downtrends and weakness painted in white. On the left hand side, we've got all the volume indicators, better momentum based on buying and selling volume, and then better pro-am based on the average trade size to identify professional and amateur activity. So you can see over the last 2 weeks we had a huge amount of professional activity kind of going on in these markets, and it's bot fighting bot, you know, kind of forcing these markets up and down and pushing the limits of where the stops are and so on. But this is what I mean by breaching support and resistances. So you can see here on the lowest time frame we had a support come in a few days ago here at 28.53. And with the overnight activity, Sunday night into Monday, I said the 29 level is going to be absolutely key. I didn't think necessarily it was going to hold. And we did go through it in a spectacular fashion. With limit down moves. I think we had 2 in a row there. And then finally we've had, you know, some strength today. But we are through that support, which means that support has not held. So we need to go to the next time frame up to see where that level will hold. And this is, we're looking for the medium lines on beta sine wave. With the cyan and red, we need the red line to cross above the cyan line to be looking for, hunting for that support level on the intermediate time frame. So in my mind, there's no rush to call a bottom or say that's it on the downside. I know we've had, you know, massive moves in the yen reversing the other way, the bonds reversing kind of the other way, and, you know, epic kind of over and under valuations in all these markets. But till I see that cross kind of happening, you know, it needs to come in to hold us, to find that kind of support area. So we've breached one support, which means we've got to find resistance in the next one. I mean, if you can look at it on the way up here. So for example, back in November last year, we breached resistance on the intermediate time frame. Therefore, we're looking for the next resistance on the next highest time frame as a, you know, we're going to continue up until we see that resistance kind of come in. And then it came in, we kept on going through it. So again, we've got to look for the next one, which happened to be a pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame. So once we breached a support or resistance level, we're looking for the next one to kind of come in. And is that going to be the one that finally holds us, and this down move is marked and we find a bottom, we rally from there. So long explanation there, but that's on the E-mini. Want to talk about Bitcoin quickly, just to show you what's happening on my charts here. Now, the problem with Bitcoin is always, you know, what do we plot? Because we have, you know, multiple exchanges, we have all kinds of instruments that we can plot. I don't think the CME kind of futures market on the Bitcoin is deep enough. I'm sure there are arbitrages going on between all of the different exchanges, and so it's representative at least of what is going on, but I don't think there's enough volume in there. And there's not enough back history as well to that's another kind of consideration I have, is having enough back history in the data in order to plot a decent chart. But there are two ways that I look at kind of what is going on. One is a 5,000 tick bar of the BTC USD contract, and you'll find that in TradeStation under the Forex symbol listing. And the other one is to look at dollar BRTI, and I do that on a 60-minute chart in order to get kind of intraday volume. So yeah, definitely we've had a lot of weakness in Bitcoin over the last month or so. We reached a max. What was the max up here? 10,005, kind of up here, and then we fell into a downtrend. But we have found a couple of things kind of that are good on the downside. So I always look for the three things, the three indicators to start signaling that a bottom is made. We often see exhaustion selling and blue professional bars coming in before the low is finally kind of made and confirmed. And you can see we have exhaustion selling here and blue professional bars kind of come in on the lows down here, 7,700 type level. And we've just flipped above the trailing stop that is based on better pro-am. So that's good. So that's kind of the volume side of things is showing us that we're finding a level for support. And then on the price bars on better sine wave, need to start seeing some resistance lines being broken in order to show strength and uptrends. Good example here of the pullback trend of trends rippling through the time frames. So on the lowest time frame, we had a little bit of a shoulder here, pullback trend of trend on the lowest time frame signaled. This is an inverted head and shoulder, so a shoulder here down to the head, and then at some point in the future, I think we're going to make that right hand inverted shoulder. And that'll be a good jumping off point there. But we've had pullback to end of trend on the lowest time frame, followed by pullback to end of trend on the intermediate time frame. So the rippling through the time frames. A little bit of strength where we started to break above resistance here, but it never got going. We never broke above 9,002. And we kind of came back down that, I think it was a Sunday night kind of activity into this kind of sell-off here. That's why it's gapped on this tick bar chart. But in the last few hours or so, we've started to have resistance lines broken. Now, really, what I'm looking for is a nice solid break above this level. So that's 8,158, so 8,002 or so, kind of nicely getting going at that point. Would be good kind of confirmation. We've got a blue professional bar at the high there, potentially like a little bit of a U-turn. They kind of buy it on the way down and then anxiously pick it up on the way up. We don't want to give it too much weakness at this point here. The low of this type of bar kind of down here needs to hold. Certainly the pivot little point kind of down here needs to hold. So looking for that break back above 8,000, 8,002 on that chart to kind of really show that we've got strength kind of going on. I know we've overshot support on the highest time frame here, but all that means for me is we've overshot here. As soon as we have a highest time frame print a support, I'm looking for some kind of reason to go long. This was looking. We didn't get a confirmed break at that point, so we've come back to the next level down here and looking for that level to get kind of confirmed break on the way up. Then we'll run into resistance on this highest time frame and need to test back down, whether that's pullback to end of trend and so on that highest time frame could well be. But this is looking interesting right now. And then to check out what the 60-minute chart is looking at. The 60-minute chart on that 5,000 tip bar chart of BTC USD kind of go, they're a little bit kind of similar, so that's why I like looking at those as my kind of short-term charts here on this one. But again, it's like, you're talking different data points, so nothing's going to be identical. In this one, we have the pullback to end of trend on the highest time frame gone off here. We've got a pullback to end of trend we're making in the lowest time frame, trying to put that kind of together, but we started to break above resistances here, and you can see same type of thing. We've got this 8,000 kind of 200 level is absolutely key. So in the next a few hours or day or so, if we kind of hold this level here, break above 8,002, that'll be good for me. We've had exhaustion sell, bullish divergence. It is bullish divergence right on the zero line, which I don't particularly like. Sometimes we need to see a flush pattern after that where we kind of sell down a little bit more, but again, just waiting and watching and seeing here. No blue professional bars on this one, but this move on the way down has been led by the amateurs, so that's kind of weak on the way down. Wait and see. 8,002 I think is the critical level. If we break above that convincingly, then we're on to the next leg trend up in Bitcoin. There we go. Anyway, looking forward to tomorrow's trade, Wednesday.